Taiwan is bursting with heaps of fun places to explore. Join me, Amber Hatfield, as I hit up travel hotspots, soak up some culture, and hunt down hidden gems. Let's go! Welcome back to Let's Go. In today's episode, I'll be talking about Tainan. This episode is actually the second part of a conversation about Tainan with Crystal Henry, an American who has been living in Tainan for around 8 years. If you want to hear how she got to Taiwan, what brought her here, and her knowledge of the history of Tainan and places to visit there, you can go back to see our previous 2 episodes. Let's get into it. Do you think there are any kind of unique places that people should try and visit when they go to Tainan?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really great markets in Tainan. If you're looking for a more traditional style market, there is one that's close to where I live. It's in West Central District. It's called Yongle Wet Market. I feel like they are very traditional. It's a wet market, right? So you've got all kinds of fresh produce and you can get like all of your different meats and things there. And I think one of the things I love about these types of markets is not only can you get your groceries, but if you're like a little bit hungry, they also have like vendors and stuff as well, right? So you can get like a little bit of fried chicken or something like that to tide you over until you can get home and cook with all of the produce and stuff that you just bought. So that's always really nice. And then for night markets, Tainan actually has the largest night market in southern Taiwan. So that would be Garden Night Market, and it is in North District. It is super touristy, so if that is not your thing, just be aware of that. But it's massive. It's absolutely massive. So much food, so many games, so many things to buy. So it's really great. But if tourist like styled places are not your thing, there's so many other options to choose from. I feel like there are like night markets that have maybe 10 to 15 vendors all the way to Garden, which has hundreds of vendors and everything in between. So I feel like there's options for everybody. My partner and I really like to go to them together and walk around. I think, during COVID, I wouldn't go as much just because like the crowds and being around so many people in a very confined space. Definitely wanted to take precautions with that. But I found that recently we've started going a little bit more frequently, but we do tend to visit ones that aren't quite as crowded and a little bit more spread out. Like there's a night market in Anping. I feel like I'm a spokesperson for Anping. I love it so much. But there's like a smaller one in Anping. I think they're open on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. I think so. But usually on Sundays there aren't that many people. So if Sunday evening gets here and we have no idea what we want to eat, that's kind of like our go-to. We'll just be like, okay, let's not worry about cooking or ordering. Let's just go to the Amping night market, and we know we can get something good there. So yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because like in the UK we don't really have anything that really resembles a night market. Like we've only got maybe like a fair, like a yearly fair or something with rides and maybe games, but it's not really anything like a night market.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like when I first moved here, I was just in awe of it. I had never seen anything like it. Like you said, the closest thing is the fair, but even that is just like vastly different, I feel.
Yeah, it's really different. Let's talk a little bit about like outdoor stuff. Do you find that you go outside of Tainan's kind of main city area much?
I feel like I have in the past. I feel like sadly I haven't had as much time to do that here recently. Um, but yeah, there's definitely been some times in my 8 years where I've adventured outside of the city. But honestly, even if you don't make it outside of the city, there are still quite a lot of like parks and like outdoor areas that you can enjoy. Chimei Museum, which is actually a little bit out of the city, right? Has a really nice park around it where you can go and have a picnic or lounge around or hang out with friends. There's Tainan Park, which is, fairly close to the train station. So if you don't have a lot of time in Tainan, that's like a nice outdoorsy place where you can walk around. But I found that whenever I would leave the city, it was usually to go and explore like waterfalls. I feel like there's been a couple of trips where, you hop on the scooter and drive outside of the city, find a waterfall that looks interesting on Google Maps and try your best to find it, which it usually takes, a bit of hiking and all of that. So if that's your thing, like it's a lot of fun. Also, there's Guanziling. So if you like go up north, right? Like it's honestly closer to Jai than it is like Tainan city proper, but it's still technically in Tainan. So if you're planning on traveling around like the whole area, that's also a really nice place to go. It's kind of like surrounded by like mountainous areas. And I just feel like the air there is so fresh and clean and nice compared to in the city. And then they also have the hot springs and like hot spring hotels there. So if you're looking for some relaxation, that's like a really nice place to go to.
Do you have any suggestions for when people should come to Tainan? Maybe there are some festivals or some things going on. When's the best time, do you think?
I would suggest to come in the spring. Just because number one, the summer is super hot and humid, and it also rains a lot during the summer. And I feel like once the rain stops, it basically doesn't stop until winter because we have like the plum rain season, then we have just like the regular rainy season, and then we have typhoon season. So it's just like back to back rainy periods of time. So like winter is also not too bad. I don't feel like it gets crazy cold, but if you're wanting to spend a lot of time outside, then I would suggest waiting until the spring because I feel in the spring it's not quite like really hot. There's also usually a lot of really good like sunny days, to get out and adventure around. So that would be like my favorite time of year for people to come. I feel like whenever I have people come and visit me from the US, I usually try to book their trips around that time. But if you're local in Taiwan and you are trying to decide when the best time to come is, you can look at different festivals. There is the Yinshui Beehive Festival that a lot of people really like to come down for. I personally have never been to it. I feel like it's on my list and I need to attend it at least one time because I've just heard crazy things about it and all of the firecrackers like setting off all at once. I'm sure it's a total adrenaline rush. From my understanding, it's usually in February. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's on my list of experiences that I have yet to do. So that's another cool thing. I've been here 8 years and I still have things that I can do.
Yeah.
And then I think Dragon Boat Festival is also like really big here. So once again in Anping, they have the canals and they do dragon boat races every year. So if you live in the area, you can sign up to be a part of a team and compete in the dragon boat races. A lot of people will come and watch those. They'll also have the streets lined with different vendors, and you can get all of the traditional dragon boat festival snacks, lots of zhongzi. So that's also, a really good time to come down and visit as well.
You've been in Taiwan and in Tainan for a long time now. Could you tell me about some of the memories that you have of your life in Tainan and why they are so special for you.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. After being somewhere for 8 years, like you're gonna have a large arsenal, I guess, of memories to look back on. I feel like a lot of them revolve around food. Just going out and like meeting people and trying new dishes, like trying things that, I never thought I would have tried before. Like in Alabama, like we don't have like red bean desserts or like tofu desserts and things like that. And that's another one of those that I put off trying for the longest time just because it wasn't something that I was used to. And now like douhua with tang yen and hongdo is like one of my favorite things to eat. Like I absolutely love it. And so I think just having the memories of gaining all of these different experiences um are really important to me, and being able to broaden like my worldview and just like my sense of normalcy, I guess, right? um and I also really treasure the memories of when my family members or when my friends from the US come to Taiwan. I think that after being in a place for so long, it can tend to lose a bit of its magic, I guess you could say, right? Because it's just like your day to day. And I think that whenever, my sisters came to visit, or a friend came to visit, it was like I got to see Tainan and Taiwan in general really from fresh eyes, right? And just seeing the awe of like everything that we did, it it really made me remember how great of a place this is, and like how thankful I am to live down here. There will probably be a time in my life where I don't see these things every day. And I think, just keeping that in your mind can also help you like appreciate.
That's all for today's episode of Let's Go and the final episode of my chats with Crystal Henry. See you next time for more chats about travel and places in Taiwan.